I have been irrevocably scarred by the number 9. Oh, sorry. That's not how these start. Chongyue is hot. So is Lin. Finally obtaining my first sibling, and it being the 3.5 global anniversary, I decided to celebrate by not having fun, by attempting to clear this lore accurately while being severely underprepared. But it's okay. After overcoming a hot sister and alleged unethical human experimentation, I feel quite confident in my ability to beat this event. With enough cake to fill a bakery and enough voice lines to narrate the whole Arknights story, come with me on a journey to the desert city of Yumen to fend off those who invade the city and let us clear this event lore accurately. As always, the first stage is an easy walk in the park. The only thing notable that came from the stage was being reminded that the big Chongus himself does not stop talking. The mechanic of enemies getting onto the ranged tiles is an interesting one, and I think HT should implement it more often. In WB2, the reality of the situation sets in. Chongyue is so very squishy. Even on the second stage of the event, basic enemies are doing a considerable amount of damage to an E2 6-star. This stage introduces the archers that hide in the map, but they are super squishy and don't do too much damage luckily. In the end, this stage is an easy clear because who would ever get stuck on the second stage of an event when you have a bunch of E2 units? Couldn't be me. In WB3, I get fed up with the line span from Chongus and switch him off. A straightforward stage that requires me to cycle between Lin and Chen's skill to kill the dogs that come from the right side. This stage introduces the Sonic Enablers. These guys give a speed boost to all the enemies on the stage. Pretty annoying enemy later on, but easy on this stage. In WB4, the long lanes make good use of Chongyue's S3 being able to help with enemies on the ranged tiles. However, as I love to do, I make the stage much harder by putting Chen near the blue box so her skill can hit the high ground. This leads to Chongus being beaten to an inch of his life, staying on 1 HP for the second half of the map. Credit to Big Bro though, he holds the line long enough for the purple rat to dance her way to a stage clear. In WB5, another easy stage setup that showcases Chongyue's third skill. However, this stage introduces the thing that haunts my dreams, the Sandman. These bastards are invisible, but some sick fuck degenerate decided that invisibility was not enough, but that they also do major damage on their first attack during invincibility, and without a healer on this team, it's pretty rough. Unfortunately, Big Bro can't finish the kill, so I suffer my first failure at the hands of the enemy on 1 HP. On my successful attempt, I wait for the Sonics to place their pulls so Lin gets the extra exploding damage from destroying them. I save Chen's skill to quickly kill the first Sandman to save the Roadblock's HP. By saving the Roadblock's HP, the rest becomes an easy cleanup for the purple rat. With the stage clear, I get my one and only sniper, Ji-Yun, whose skill too will become very important in the last stage. In WB6, I am immediately jump scared by 3 Sandmen spawning on the left corner. I then immediately sacrifice my new recruit to the bloodthirsty Sandmen to appease them, thus letting me kill them in return. Soon it becomes apparent that setting up my units way back was a mistake, due to the speedy boys spawning and giving everyone a buff. This stage introduces the speedy caster boys that are absolute bull. They do massive damage, and due to their high ASPD, stand still until your poor unit is shot dead. Luckily, they don't appear much in the story stages, but my team is wiped out and I lose the stage. On the next attempt, I proclaim to have figured out how to beat the map, just for me to immediately mess up and lose. I move my Chongyue placement to in front of the red box, and there he's able to hold the lane and not let any of the Sonic boys get on the rafters. This solves my left side problem, but not the right, and I lose this attempt too. After about 6 attempts, emergency maintenance hits the servers, so to fill the time, I hit the board. I map out the very basic pass and brainstorm different placements that could help me beat the stage. Once the servers came back, I hopped into the stage and proceeded to not do a single thing I said I would. After a few more attempts, always failing right at the end, I'm informed that Lee also pops up in the story, and since no one on the internet would ever lie about anything, I take it for the truth and Lee's added to the team. With Big Bro holding the left lane and a second Ji-Yun sacrifice to push the enemy into Chen's lane, I clear the stage with both my easier units beating a poor magician to death in front of a blue box so that I may claim victory. WB7 is another stage that allows Chongus' S3 to shine. He's able to help both ramps and hold his own lane. This stage introduces the tanky boys. These enemies, while not all too dangerous, take almost no damage from Chongus. This leaves only Lin and Chen being the only ones that can take them down. With bad placements, my team in the middle is overrun and I inevitably lose. I lose in the exact same situation a few more times before I decide to use a forbidden technique most Arknight players don't know about. I decided to use a 6-star inferior skill, Lin's S2. Putting Chongus back 1 tile and Chen in front of the blue box, this allows for Chongus to survive for much longer. It also helps that I fast redeploy spam right in front of him. Lin S2 allows her to kill the first wave of tanks while letting Chen survive 1 shot without taking damage. With the second activation of her skill, she again lets Chen survive the tanks long enough for her to get her skill back and kill one of them. For extra style points, the second tank kills itself with Lin's S2 as well, leading to a much easier clear than I anticipated. WB8 was probably the easiest map to figure out in this event. This stage introduces the big cars, another enemy that is not very dangerous but just incredibly thick. Lin is the only reliable form of damage against them. With Chen holding the back line and Chongyue doing extra damage at the front, the stage was rather easy all the way until the last wave of truck enemies. Lin's skill was usually not up in time to be able to take them out, so my team got overrun and failed the stage. The next 5 attempts ended in the same manner, with the trucks always getting by due to Lin's skill's downtime. On my successful attempt with an early Lin skill, I killed the first wave in preparation for the second, with Waifu applying attack down to the big Chungus to keep Chen alive, and a G and slow to give Lin enough time to get her skill back. The purple rat cleans up the last 2 trucks. This stage was the easiest yet, but it was more a question of timing. This stage is fun. The whole event took me around an hour and a half, and WB9 took me 7.5 hours. My first 20 minutes went rather poorly. Putting Chongus to lane hold and Lee on top to kill the Sonic Boys proves to be the worst idea anyone has ever come up with. So much so I impressed myself with how terrible it is. Lee in the top right with no module takes too much DP and I can't ever place any other units on the field, leading to my team being wiped by either the bastard Sandman or Ya's explosion from the second phase. Using 100% of my brain power, I decide to put Chen on the top lane to deal with the Sonic Boys. This allows me to put Jin down to help kill and slow enemies. For whatever reason, my Grandmaster martial artist that fights literal demons in the desert has the HP and defense of a small child. Having to keep Chongus as healthy as he can be becomes the next problem for me to figure out. It also does not help that the speed pulls are invulnerable for like half a second after they place it. So if I use Chen's skill too quickly, it doesn't hit them and I end up wasting it. Then finally, I need to remember to always have Waifu ready to stall the Sandmen at the last second so they don't kill the big bro. To sum it all up, it's a lot of micromanaging. My lack of preparation starts to backfire on me. Without masteries, Lin and Chongyue's damage are just not quite enough, making the whole stage much harder than it needs to be. I also have not learned from my mistakes, and my Chen still sits with skill 2 being her only M3, even though skill 3 will be much more useful. Around an hour and a half in, I start to summon what would be my main setup. With Chongus and Chen in the same positions, I saw the big tanky boys with Waifu and Lee to keep Chongus as healthy as he can be. Lee is put one tile in front of Chongus to stall the boss, so when he does phase, the explosion doesn't kill the big bro. Lin is used to wave clear and deal damage to both bosses, and Ji-Yin's skill needs to be timed fairly tightly too. Once early in the phasing to slow and deal damage so that she has enough time to get her skill again to finish off the clone. This is also hoping Chen's SP talent goes to her and not Chongus. This setup however is fickle and dependent on a lot of random factors that a tired me at 2 AM couldn't account for. It also doesn't solve how to kill the actual boss. With Despair rising, I hired a PMC to join the team temporarily to beat the stage. And for justifications, we hit the board. Fire Whistle appears on this event's banner, and while not in the story, she serves as my Ling replacement, since Ling, and a certain other blue woman, would trivialize the challenge, and we all know someone's suffering is another's entertainment. After leaving the blue woman simulation, I returned to Fan the same exact way I had been for almost 2 hours, so I hit the board to lay out my win conditions. I can't forget the Sandman since they do too much damage and will end my run if they hit Chongus. I need to turn on Big Bro's voice line since this is not a bug but a feature I must appreciate. It also gives it a 10% strength boost. Lastly, I need Lee to dodge all incoming damage from outside his range. With my conditions set and ready to accept hearing loss as a sacrifice for victory, I head into my next attempt. I failed immediately, but after that I entered the run. It's all going according to plan. Jian gets her skill and kills the clone. We are able to clear out all the mob spawns in the bottom lane. Lee is deployed on top and is actually dodging some of the boss's attacks. However, I make a slight blunder and deploy the purple rat way too far back, and so for most of her skill she can't reach the boss. With Jian's skill slowing the boss, it gives enough time for Lin to get her skill back, but in a tragic turn of events, the boss does its AoE skill and explodes Chen. While Lin does kill the boss and all the other mobs, one leaks by and I lose this attempt right at the end. My reaction on the board says everything. What that broken past me didn't know was that he had 5 more hours of suffering ahead of him. After returning, I try to pay to win to upgrade my units, but come up short. I instead decide to farm for specialist ships to take Waifu up to E150. During the farming, I head back to the board to formulate a new plan that will surely take me to victory. I get a good first run with my new game plan, but like I am wont to do, in an attempt at a big brain play, I retreat Lee to get enough DP and hope that a Chen S2 would kill the boss. It doesn't. Due to a lack of DP, I can't deploy anyone to block, and Lee can't kill the enemies quick enough, earning me another despair-inducing failure at the last moment. After that loss, I proceeded to get a little silly, trying different placements of units, failing pretty quickly due to my fatigue of having been awake for more than 24 hours catching up to me since I had just gotten home from a trip. That tiredness leads me to making more simple mistakes. As the clock ticks to 4 AM and I question my life decisions, I look at the board to see if I completed any of it and how I can update it. With my plan updated and my sanity now in the negative, I fail in the same fashion for about another hour. I've been trying the stage for so long that 4.5 hours have passed and my Chongus gets his M1. While I noticed the power difference, my attempts don't get any better until about 6.5 hours into the stream. A friendly viewer adds me so I can use their M3 Lee. With this newfound power, I finally start to believe that this is doable, since the best cooking is done when you have marinated the food for 7 hours. Right? However, failure was the only thing that awaited me, and not even 20 minutes later, I ended up in the copium corner. To try to shorten this already long section, let's just say after ending up at the copium corner, I spent 2 hours failing, all the while slowly going mad, and with an existential crisis as an added bonus. Persevering through my madness and delirium, I finally made it to the promised land. As I have been doing for hours at this point, my start is the same as it always has been, using waifu and lead to stall so Chongus doesn't get hit. The only change I made was instead of lead blocking the big Chungus, I let him go by and let Fire Whistle and Chongus take him out. I instead used lead to block the boss in Chongus's range to take it down just a bit faster. Disaster strikes when I forget to block the first Sandman and he takes Chongus down to almost no HP. With a well-timed GN skill, she's able to take down the clone before it gets out of its range. After killing the last Sandman, I retreat Fire Whistle and put my faith into the big bro to valiantly hold the front line and not die. With a close call, I put Lee down in time to rescue Chen from dying to the boss's range attack. Lin is placed to where S3 can hit the boss as soon as he comes out from the staircase. Chen does die to the boss, but Fire Whistle comes back in time to help Lee block. Once the boss spawns, Lin is able to kill it within her skill activation. All that was left was to clean everything up. With the butt clenched so tight you think my name was Lin, I watch as the purple rat spins her way to the stage clear, thus finally ending my 9-hour-long suffering. For rewards this time around, not only did I get the sweet taste of victory, I was also able to speedrun Arthritis from clicking the skill button for 9 hours, slight hearing loss from the line spam, and your typical sleep deprivation. I was also able to answer my existential question. So all in all, it was worth it. This event's boss was not hard, and with masteries, I went back and did clear it even without Fire Whistle. But the challenge was still fun, and there's always entertainment to be had when you're watching someone go negative sanity in real time. Talking about negative sanity, I'll be streaming EX stage attempts for fun around 7 PM CST August 5th, so come join to see some molding. If you made it this far into the video, I want to thank you for watching and stopping by. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and let me know if you found this event hard at all. Since there's no new events coming out anytime soon, at least until the Angry Chicken rerun, let me know what event you'd like to see next. Till next time.